everyone, it's Kelly here for Soy and Shea, and thank you so much for joining me for today's video. I'm going to take you along as I make a fresh batch of my solid dish soap. Now this is a little bit different to some of those recipes that you see out there in that this is not a 100% coconut oil soap. This is a blend of surfactant materials along with some other cleaning ingredients and some essential oils to form a solid paste which you can then wash your dishes with, and there's a number of ways which I'll show you at the end of this video on how you can use this product. Now if you are interested in getting your hands on the recipe for this solid dish soap, this is the recipe I have shared over on the Patreon page for the month of July 2021, and you can find it on the $5 level for the next 3 months. Now if you're watching this video after that time, check out the description box and I will list the levels at which this recipe will be at for future dates if you do wish to come and join and get your hands on it. But for now, let's go and check out how easy it is to make this solid dish soap and then how easy it is to also use it. Let's go. So let's start measuring out our ingredients into our pan. Down in this big bucket I have got my sodium cocoa sulfate, and I use this one because it is natural, it is biodegradable, and it is a really effective cleaner because it's an anionic surfactant. Next to go into our pot is some cocoa betaine, and this is to help stabilize the foam, and it also breaks down a little bit of that sort of soapiness that you get from the sodium cocoa sulfate. It's also going to bring a little bit of gentleness into this mix. Now to help firm up our mix here, I am going to add in some stearic acid. And lastly, I'm going to add in a little bit of water just to help melt all of this down. To help keep the warmth into this pan and so I don't lose too much water, I have the lid which I've wrapped up in some biodegradable cling wrap just to form a really nice seal. And the next thing, we're going to turn our stove on and we're going to start getting our bain-marie going. I'm going to leave this in the hot water until it has all melted down. So while our surfactants are all melting down, I'm going to weigh out some of the additional ingredients. And the first one is some cleaning vinegar, and I use this because it is good at breaking down sort of bacterias. It is also very good at breaking up grease and grime to help them wash away, and again it is biodegradable. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to measure out is my essential oil blend, and I am doing myself some sweet orange, lime and basil because all of these are really good for helping to break through grease and grime. I also like to add into mine some preservative. Now some people say that this is not essential because there's no water in the product, but you are dipping a wet sponge into this and there is potential for water to sit on the surface, so I like to include a preservative in my blend as well. Next thing is we're going to weigh out some washing soda. Okay, so here is my washing soda. If you are here in Australia, this is really easy to find in the washing aisle. Now what washing soda actually is sodium carbonate, which is made, if you have got the time, by baking some bicarbonate of soda in an oven for a period of time and it changes into sodium carbonate. I just find it easier to actually buy this one because I don't have an oven in my workshop and I don't really want this in my food oven in the house, so I choose just to buy this one instead. So you're either looking for washing soda here in Australia or some sodium carbonate. Alright, so I've got all of these bits all measured out. It's now time to wait for the surfactants to melt down and then we'll start combining. Okay, so this has been cooking for about 20-25 minutes. I'm going to take it off and give it a bit of a stir. I have been stirring it in between its cooking sort of process. So I'm going to take the lid off. Now it may not look like it has melted down. So if you look at that, you can still see the sort of chunks of that sodium cocoa sulfate, but as you start stirring this and that warmth starts moving through, this does all start to melt down. So don't be tempted to leave this on the bain-marie for hours thinking it's not melting down. It is just because those needles hold their shapes so well. So give this a really good stir and you'll actually start to see it melting down. Alright, so that has had a really good stir and I can see that it has all now melted down. If yours hasn't completely melted down, you just put it back on the bain-marie, give it a bit of a stir and you'll see that it will all start to come together. It will probably only need about another 5 minutes. But let's go and add the extra goodies into this one. So the first thing I'm going to add in while this is still nice and warm is that sodium carbonate or washing soda. This really helps to give an extra cleaning boost. So now that I've added that in, I'm going to give it a really good stir. I like to add it in while my mix is still nice and warm because I find it much easier to incorporate when you do it this way. And I added this ingredient in because it gives that sort of added extra power boost of cleaning, and it also adds just a very, very slight exfoliation sort of aspect to it, which really helps to lift dirt and grime from off of dishes without actually scratching the plates or the pans as well. So once that is all mixed in, next you're going to add your vinegar, and you need to stir this in quite quickly, otherwise it does foam up. But if you get your sort of mixing action going, pouring it in, you'll be fine. It's a bit like when you add vinegar and bicarbonate of soda together, you get that foaming reaction, but while you're stirring you're going to be beating out all of that air so it won't flop over your container. So get all of that mixed in. And I'm also at this stage, this should be cool enough now for my preservative, I'm going to throw in my essential oil blend and preservative and mix all of that in. We really don't want this mix to be too cool, otherwise then we're not going to be able to get it into our containers. But this is also at the temperature where those essential oils are going to be fine. Alright, so that is all mixed in really, really well together, and it is time to pot it up. And this is one of those very few products that I do pot up while it's still warm, otherwise it's just an absolute nightmare to do this one once it's cool. So I like to put my solid dish soap into these aluminium containers. They're just nice and lightweight. They are reusable as well. So once all the washing liquid is gone, someone can easily wash them out, reuse them for something else. They're also really good because they have got that screw-on lid. So if it's for someone who is in, say, a caravan, they are nice and easy to transport around as well. So I'm going to get all these lids off, and then I am going to start filling these containers. Alright, so I'm going to tear out the scale there, grab my spoon, and you do need a little bit of brutality with this. You can kind of push it in and move it around with your spoon, but I do find it easier to pop in what I want and then just give it a good knockdown on the bench. Okay, so there are all of my containers there. I'm going to leave them sit overnight to really cool down. Then I'll come back, I'll clean up the containers and we'll pop the lids on. Okay, so I'm back the next day ready to start cleaning these up and getting them all labelled. I have a piece of paper towel here. I'm just going to give it a spray with some 70% rubbing alcohol, and all I'm going to do is go around and just wipe the outsides of these tins just to get rid of any of sort of that excess soap that I may have got on the edge, especially from handling it with the gloves, which may have had some soap. Just makes it a little bit more comfortable for the customers when they are looking prior to purchase, so they're not getting soapy residue on their hands. So I'm going to give all of these a good wipe down. We'll pop the lids on and then I'll be back with the labels. So I have my labels all ready to go on here now, and I have designed these in the Adobe Illustrator and printed them up on a laser printer, and they're just on some die cut sticker labels here. I pop on the top what the product is, and then on the bottom, if we can get this one off here, I pop on the ingredients and instructions on how to use it, plus all the other legal bits that I am required to have. And there it is. There is the solid dish soap. I'll finish getting these ones labelled up and I'll give you a quick demonstration on how this works. So there are several ways in which you can use this dish soap. Now, yes, mine is in a plastic container. The reason being is that I used to use these containers for other products, which I no longer use. I had a couple spare that I had absolutely no use for, so I decided to use them for myself. And I think this is on like its 5th or 6th refill, so every time I need some more, I've got 2 of them, rotate between them. Every time one is empty, I refill it with some more dish soap for myself. So I do continually use these containers. I figured it was better than throwing the container away because I was no longer using them. So that is mine. As I said, there's a couple of ways in which you can use this. So I usually provide my customers with a piece of loofah. So these are natural, biodegradable. When they're at the end of their life, you can throw them out in the garden or the compost bin and they will break down. So these are a really good option to use. And my favorite tool, which I do sell online, are these coconut scrubber kitchen brush things. Again, they are completely biodegradable, made with coconut fibers, and the really nice thing with this is that the coconut fibers really do help to pick the grease and oil off your plates, but this doesn't actually feel greasy, and every so often I throw that through the dishwasher to give it a really good clean as well. So I'm going to use my kitchen scrubber because I really do like using it. What I do, get a bit of warm water running. I just give that a bit of a wet on the top. I get my brush, which I have also wet over, and I give that a little bit of a scrub over. So we've got some soap on our brush. I have this tray which has got lots of mica on it. I was doing some embeds which I've sprayed. All I'm going to do is give that a really good scrub over. Gonna give that a bit of a rinse off. And there you go, that is nice and clean. If you've ever tried cleaning mica off things, you'll know just how difficult it is to get off. Now, if you are on very heavy water restrictions or don't like doing your washing up like that, so depending what I am washing up will depend what sort of action I do take. But you can also run yourself a bowl of water. So I'm going to put my plug in there. All I'm going to do is start running my water. I hold that underneath. And we're going to start getting a nice lather build up in our sink. So I've got some water. I have the saucepan that we did our bain marie in. The rest of it all went through the dishwasher, so I don't have too much to actually wash up right now. you get the general idea here. Just going to give that a quick rinse off. And I've just popped it over on my draining board. Now the other things you can do, you can get yourself a little bit more liquid on your scrubbing brush or your loofah. And I like to just give everything a bit of a rub down. So it's really good for cleaning surfaces as well. So get that bit of bubble going. And then all I do is I come in with a clean damp cloth and give that a good wipe over to pick up all of those bubbles. And we've got a nice clean cooktop, and you can also wipe down all your kitchen benches and things like that as well. Okay, so there it is. That is the solid dish soap all ready and done, ready to go on my shelves and start shipping out with orders. As I said, this recipe, for those who are interested in it, is available over on the Patreon page. Check out the description box to see what level you need to join at certain times of the year to get your hands on this recipe. I hope you have enjoyed watching how I made this one, and if you did, why not leave me a thumbs up and any comments down below. And until the next video comes out, I hope you have a great one, and I'll see you then. Bye.